Rose is a psychiatrist. One day, a new patient named Laura is admitted to the hospital, someone deeply strange. From the moment she walks in, Laura is visibly terrified. She tells Rose that she can see things no one else can. She often sees people smiling at her, but something about them is off, eerily stiff, unnaturally posed. They don't move like humans. It's as if they're wearing human masks. What scares her the most is the sight of her grandfather, long dead, standing before her, flashing a twisted grin. Rose tries to calm her down as Laura grows more and more agitated. Suddenly, Laura stares into the void, collapses to the ground, and starts crawling backwards, screaming, "Don't kill me!" Rose rushes to call for help, but as soon as she hangs up, something horrifying happens. Laura vanishes. When Rose turns her head, she sees Laura standing a few steps away, holding a sharp shard from a broken vase. That same terrifying smile is stretched across her face. Before Rose can react, Laura drives the shard into herself. She collapses in a pool of blood and dies. But even in death, that disturbing smile stays frozen on her face. Rose can feel it. Something about all this isn't right. After being questioned by the police, she returns home, still rattled by what happened. She pours herself a drink, hoping to numb the fear. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she sees Laura again, standing in the corner, grinning. Panicked, Rose spins around, just in time to hear someone call her name. She drops her glass in terror. It turns out to be her fiancé, Trevor, who just got home. Rose lets out a sigh of relief, brushing it off as a hallucination brought on by trauma. That night, the couple has dinner with Rose's sister and brother-in-law. The mood quickly sours. Her sister complains that Rose always puts work first. She even missed her nephew's birthday party. They argue, and the evening ends on a bitter note. The next day, Rose is back at the psychiatric hospital. She picks up a report from the front desk, an official file from the police about Laura's case. Back in her office, she reads the statement from a witness. It details how Laura was approached by one of her professors at school. He walked up to her with a hammer and started violently smashing his own head until he died. When he fell to the ground, he too wore that same unnatural smile. Just then, Rose gets a call from her sister. She apologizes for what she said the night before, admits she was too harsh, and asks Rose to at least buy her nephew a gift if she can't make it to the party. But Rose isn't listening. She's staring out the window. Laura is there again, standing in the distance, still smiling. Rose closes the curtain and agrees to buy the gift. Later, she walks down the hospital hallway, visibly disturbed. As she passes by a patient's room, something feels off. She steps inside to check. The patient, Carl, turns to face her, wearing that same chilling smile. Then he starts screaming.
Carl?
Carl.
She's gonna die. I'm gonna die. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die.
Rose calls for the staff, but by the time they arrive, Carl is lying quietly in bed, completely calm. The hospital director calls Rose into his office. Carl had never shown signs of aggression before. He suspects that Rose might be experiencing psychological stress after witnessing Laura's suicide. He suggests Rose take a week off to recover. Reluctantly, she agrees. That afternoon, Rose buys a toy for her nephew at a store. Later that evening, she's home alone, wrapping the present. Trevor texts her. He's stuck working late. With nothing else to do, Rose pours herself another drink. Suddenly, the house alarm goes off, startling her. She drops her glass. Thinking someone may have broken in, she grabs a pair of scissors and cautiously checks the door. The lock is untouched. Everything looks fine. She disables the alarm and goes back to the living room. Then the phone rings. It's the security company. They saw the alert and want to confirm she's safe, but the voice on the other end says something chilling.
Are you alone in the house, ma'am?
Yes.
Are you sure?
What?
Are you sure you haven't let something inside, Rose? Look behind you.
And just as suddenly, the phone in her hand disappears. A second call comes in. This time it's the real security company. The police arrive and search the house, but there's no sign anyone else was there. Trevor gets home shortly after. Rose doesn't tell him what just happened, but something else is wrong. Her cat is missing. They search the entire house. Nothing. That night, Rose can't sleep. She listens back to the audio recording of her conversation with Laura. In the background, there's a voice. It says her name. Terrified, Rose grabs a knife to protect herself. Trevor hears her scream and runs in, managing to calm her down. The next day, she visits her old therapist. Years ago, Rose witnessed her own mother's suicide. The trauma left a deep scar, and it was this therapist who helped her heal. Now, Rose tells her everything. She believes something evil is following her, but the therapist says it's likely unresolved trauma, symptoms of a mind still scarred from childhood. She encourages Rose to rest and use the break to recharge. Taking her advice, Rose decides to attend her nephew's birthday party. At first, everything goes well. Then comes the gift opening. Her nephew opens Rose's present with a smile, only to scream in horror. Inside the box is the dead cat. Everyone is shocked. They all turn to Rose with horrified expressions. Her relationship with her sister instantly crumbles. Clutching the cat's lifeless body, Rose breaks down in tears. She insists she didn't do this. And then she sees Laura again, smiling. In her panic, she cuts her arm on a piece of glass. That night, she's taken to the hospital for treatment. Trevor picks her up and drives her home. On the way, they get into an argument. Rose tells him the truth. Something dark is happening. The same thing that happened to Laura is now happening to her. Whatever caused Laura's death has now latched onto her. She begs Trevor to believe her, but he doesn't. He thinks it's all in her head, maybe even hereditary. He blames her for the cat's death. Their relationship is shattered. Determined to uncover the truth, Rose starts digging on her own. Late at night, she finds something on her laptop. Laura had witnessed a professor take his own life. That's when everything started. Rose traces the professor's address and finds his wife. The woman says her husband changed after a seminar. He became paranoid, erratic, talking to things that weren't there. He even started drawing what he saw. She shows Rose the artwork. Disturbing, abstract faces, smiling. Rose is shaken. Then she learns the crucial detail. Her husband's descent began after he witnessed a woman's suicide at the seminar. It clicks. Rose asks for the woman's name, but the professor's wife doesn't remember. Desperate, Rose turns to her ex-boyfriend Joel, a local cop. He still has feelings for her and agrees to help. What they find is shocking. Before the woman died, she too witnessed someone take their own life. She was alone at a gas station when a man appeared and used scissors to end his own life right in front of her. Security footage shows something even more disturbing. Just before dying, the man smiled. The same twisted smile. Joel is confused, but Rose understands. She takes the footage and makes a copy. She finally has proof that she's not losing her mind. But when she returns home to show Trevor, she finds something else waiting. Trevor has called her therapist. He still believes she's mentally unwell. Crushed by his betrayal, Rose leaves and goes to see her sister, ready to reveal the truth. But her sister won't listen. She refuses to hear a word of it. The conversation between Rose and her sister ends in another bitter fallout. But as Rose gets back in her car, her sister unexpectedly walks out of the house again.
Holly.
By now, Rose is completely consumed by despair. No one believes what she's saying, not even family. Later, while she's eating, her phone rings. It's Joel. After she left, he kept digging into the case. And what he found is shocking. There have been 20 similar suicides. 19 of them died. Only one person survived. Strangely, all the victims were connected. Each one witnessed the previous suicide, passing the horror along like a chain. When Rose hears that someone actually survived, a spark of hope reignites in her. She asks Joel for more details. He tells her the survivor's name is Robert. Robert saw someone take their own life right in front of him. 4 days later, he killed a complete stranger. That's how he escaped the curse. But the horror didn't stop there. The person who witnessed Robert's act ended up taking their own life just days later. And so, the curse continued. Joel explains that Robert is currently serving time in prison. Without wasting a moment, Rose and Joel drive to the facility together. On the way, Rose tells him everything she's uncovered. She believes this is a curse, a sinister force that feeds on psychological trauma. Anyone who witnesses a suicide becomes its next host. They begin to unravel mentally until the demon takes control and forces them to end their life in front of someone else, just like Laura. That's how the curse spreads. Right now, Rose is the current target, and every victim dies within a week of witnessing the suicide. For her, time is running out. She has less than 3 days left. Joel listens closely, and finally, he believes her. The two arrive at the prison. Using his badge, Joel manages to get a meeting with Robert. Rose explains everything, hoping he'll reveal how to break the curse. After a long pause, Robert finally talks. He says the only way to survive is to kill someone else, but it has to be brutal, and there must be a witness. Only by traumatizing another person through an act of violence can the demon shift hosts. That's how Robert survived. This revelation crushes Rose. She returns home, torn and in agony. Killing someone is something she simply cannot bring herself to do. Just then, her therapist shows up, offering to check in on her. But right as she begins to speak, the phone rings. Rose answers, only to hear the same therapist's voice on the line.
Almost time, Rose.
When she looks up, the woman in front of her is gone. The demon had taken her form. Now feeling cornered, Rose grabs a kitchen knife and heads to the hospital. She's desperate and considers transferring the curse to someone else. That someone is Carl, the patient who previously smiled at her in that chilling way. When Carl sees her, he immediately panics and starts screaming. The hospital director arrives hearing the noise. Rose realizes this is her chance. A third party is present. She lunges at Carl with the knife, stabbing him repeatedly. But something's wrong. Carl doesn't react like a real person. He looks almost pleased. The director begins tearing off his own face in front of her. Suddenly, Rose wakes up. She had dozed off in the car. Everything that just happened was a dream. As she comes to, the hospital director walks over and knocks on her window, asking if she's okay. But when he sees the knife on the seat, he becomes alarmed. He urges her not to move around without supervision. But Rose has made up her mind. She drives off. On the road, she starts to form a plan. If she isolates herself completely, the curse won't be able to continue. No witnesses, no trauma, no transfer. It ends with her. She calls Joel and explains her decision, begging him not to come looking for her. Then she drives to the abandoned house where her mother ended her life, her childhood home. This place is the root of her deepest trauma. That night, she lights a kerosene lantern. Suddenly, she hears something from her mother's room. She walks in and sees her mother, alive and unchanged, sitting on the bed. Her mother leans in, accusing Rose of not helping her all those years ago. Back then, before she took her own life, she had asked young Rose to call for help. But Rose, frozen in fear, didn't. That choice has haunted her ever since. Now, Rose realizes, this isn't her mother, it's the demon wearing her face. She demands to know why she was chosen. In a flash, the demon reveals itself, throwing Rose across the room and grabbing her by the throat. But Rose fights back. Overcoming her fear, she douses the demon in kerosene and sets it on fire. Flames engulf the demon and the entire house. It seems like it's finally over. Afterward, Rose drives to Joel's home. Still visibly shaken, she asks him if she can stay the night. She just wants someone beside her while she sleeps.
I'll stay with you forever.
But when she steps outside for some air, something isn't right. She turns around and realizes she's still in the burned-out shell of her mother's house. Everything she thought just happened was another illusion. At that moment, Joel arrives. He's tracked her down using her phone's GPS. From a distance, he calls out her name. But Rose can't tell if it's really Joel or another trick. Afraid and confused, she runs back into the house. Inside, the demon reveals itself again. It rips its own face open, revealing its true form. Rose freezes. The demon grabs her and pulls her mouth open, forcing itself inside her. Outside, Joel breaks down the door. He searches the house and finds Rose, standing in a corner, facing the wall. She's pouring gasoline over herself. As Joel approaches, she turns around, wearing that same twisted smile. She lights a match, and in the flickering flames of the burning house, Joel watches in horror. The curse has a new witness, and it's far from over.